Okay, good afternoon, students. With respect to our last class, we had already got into this particular section called out as object-oriented modeling and design there. Okay, so in this, we have come across to know why object orientation is necessary. Okay, how object orientation differs with your traditional approach there. Then we had come across with some object-oriented methodology there, so which includes specifically some 5 different steps in it, okay, which starts out accordingly as system conception, analysis, then system design, class design, implementation. Okay, so thereby we have until now, okay, with a recap, we had come across to know that there are 3 models which are there for our study. Okay, one model is called out as class, the second model is called out as state, and the third one is called out as interaction. Okay, class model happens to be the base foundation for all the set of UML designs whatever you'll be working across on any respective product of your choice. Okay, whereas state model says across with only the state diagrams are drawn for such kind of classes which does appear as a complex in your flow of data. Okay, so for such kind of thing, state chart diagram or a state model is required there. And interaction model, ultimately it is the one which tells you regarding the interaction which happens amongst the objects there. Okay, and as I had said you in my last classes also, there are different kinds of diagrams which you are coming across to know. Okay, accordingly you are studying in your further classes also, like with diagrams called as class diagrams, state chart diagrams, use case diagrams, sequence diagrams, activity diagrams. Okay, there are multiple diagrams which you are coming across to know. All of them are under this botheration or else under this particular study called out as unified modeling language there. Okay, under this part of a study we are coming across with all of these diagrams there. Okay, so we'll come across to know one by one with that. Okay, so before that, let us come across to know with some object oriented themes here. Okay, what do you mean by themes? Themes are also, like for example, some special features of object orientation as compared to your any other traditional data based approach, or else you can call it across as data emphasizing models there. Okay, in object oriented themes, the very first theme which is supported by your object oriented orientation is abstraction. Okay, abstraction says that what is required only that can be abstracted across from the objects whatever you are naming across. Okay, so abstraction says that it lets you focus on essential aspects of an application while ignoring the details. Okay, it focuses on what an object is and does, and deciding how to implement it. Okay, how to implement that particular object is been abstracted here. Okay, whereas second one, that is encapsulation. Okay, encapsulation, or else you can call it in another way, call it as information hiding. Okay, which says that you can hide the information of one particular function from being used across from any other respective objects a function there. So that is nothing but, as I had said you in my last classes also, there is a relationship called out as class and objects over here. Okay, so whenever I say a class and an object, class is nothing but wherein I am including all such kind of features which are performing commonly. Okay, wherein the features are addressed there commonly there. Okay, so which are being addressed through the respective objects there. Okay, so the objects are nothing but real-time objects. Okay, so I group these objects togetherly and I say that all of these objects are classified under this particular classification called out as a particular class there. Okay, like this I have different classes there. Okay, so encapsulation says that information hiding. Okay, it provides a very good security as compared to your any other respective theme there. Okay, so it separates the external aspects of an object, okay, from the internal implementation details there. Okay, it prevents portions of a program from becoming so interdependent that a small change has massive ripple effects there. Okay, it is something like you all fellows are aware with global variable and local variable. Okay, global variables are globally available across to all the functions which are being defined under a particular function there, whereas local variable has an value within that. So similarly here also information hiding plays a very important role, says that the respective scope of that particular value or else that variable will remain within that particular boundary only. It will not go out of it. Okay, this is the second one. The third one happens to be combining data and behavior. Okay, caller of an operation need not consider how many implementations exist there. Okay, so that is data. It is wherein you had come across in your C as a programming language, you have come across with structure there. Okay, struct, and in front of that you had given a structure name. Okay, what it has within it, it has only data. Okay, different data types I was combining together and I was calling it. Okay, so but here what do you do with respect to object orientation is you are combining both data and behavior. Okay, behavior is nothing but the operation with respect to the data which has been taken across. Okay, you are combining both data and behavior, and I call it across as one of the property of object orientation. Okay, now like for example with respect to employee, I have different nomenclatures called out as EMP employee ID, then employee name, employee salary. Okay, with that what will I do with the behavior is input. So input is my function name, so that's a behavior which I want to show across by using those respective data types whatever I am using there. Then comes the fourth property or else fourth theme called out as sharing. Okay, what do you mean by sharing? Sharing says that which lets you which or else which lets the classes, whatever subclasses are there, so all those subclasses share the common code there. Okay, so the subclasses which share a common code is in which wherein I can use the properties called out as inheritance and other things there, wherein I have a main class, and through that main class I have many other subclasses there through which I can have an connectivity with which I can say that there is some part which is shared amongst them. Okay, then comes emphasis on essence of an object. Okay, since my very first class I'm always telling that here the emphasis is not on the data but rather on the object. Okay, keeping first you are going to identify the objects, then you start identify the common data and behavior of those respective objects, then you group them together and you call it as one particular classification or else one particular class there. Okay, so that is wherein I want to say it as emphasis is mainly on the essence of an object there. Okay, and the last one happens to be synergy, because synergy says identity, classification, polymorphism, inheritance. Okay, all of them characterize your object oriented languages there. Okay, so this is with your object oriented themes as an property there. Okay, so let us come across with our next one, wherein before we are heading towards the design there. Okay, so firstly we have to know that what do you mean by the word called out as. Now everywhere I said class model, state model and other things there. Okay, so what is this model? Okay, model is nothing but it is abstraction of something for the it is something like for example now continuously I am saying the things there. Okay, instead, so what do we say now? Like for example you must have come across with some civil works there. Okay, so some of you might be very much aware that you go to a civil engineer. Okay, you just say them that I have so and so site, that's a 30 by 40 site, and I want an house to be built up in this particular area. Okay, and if at all, assume if at all that person, that engineer gives you an outward study with only just pencil works there. Okay, he just shows it in form of boxes and he says that this is hall, this is living room, okay, this is bedroom, okay, this is kitchen, okay, this is puja room. If he says like this, it will be little bit difficult for you to have an imagination of that. Okay, in the same way, if at all I have an 3D picture being created for the same model. Okay, else it can be like for example all of you are very much aware with CAD now, you already come across with CAD labs and all. Okay, so there wherein you start preparing across with a design there. Okay, so what is that? That is nothing but a model there. Okay, so model is an abstraction of something for the purpose of understanding it before you are building it. Before you are building it, this is been built. Okay, and whatever changes you want to do, you will be doing it with this particular model. Okay, and later again you will make that change and that change will be appearing and that will be implemented further. Okay, so why model is necessary, or else why, what is the motto behind using a model there? These are some 4 different answers for which I'll be saying one by one. The very first one is you'll be testing the physical entity before you are building it. Okay, now whatever I say across with before building that particular model, I'll be checking across with these are my entries which I have to take down. Okay, so for my requirements, if at all requirements are there, resources are there, I'll be handling it physically. I'll just come to a conclusion that whether are they really are they really mattering across with the build of my particular product or what. Okay, so that's the very first one. Second one is communication with customers. Now if I explain the same things over a phone call or as all those things, instead of that, if I start communicating with customers through this particular model there, so that becomes an easy way, so that and communication can be built neither by words than rather by direct with an emphasize through the through those models there. Okay, that's the second one. Okay, then comes the third one, which says visualization. Okay, visualization says that you can provide a good visualization. Just now, as I said to you, if at all just I show you across with a pencil and scale, and if I say this is your living room and this is your bedroom and other things there, instead the same things I create a 3D picture and I just say I make you feel that come to through an virtual tour of this particular house and something. I just add some special effects there. So ultimately visualization is provided through these models whichever are created there. Okay, that's the third one. Then the fourth one is ultimately why models are necessary is this is our foremost requirement, and that says reduction of complexity. Okay, I can straight away have a reduction in the complexity of the model whatever I am preparing. Okay, so if at all before my product has been built, if I show a blueprint of it, so I'll come to a conclusion saying across that whether this can be truly implemented, okay, or else whether can I make some changes so that the complexity can be reduced there. Okay, so because of these four factors, a model is must and should before any particular design technique has been taken there. Okay, so as I had said you, so there are three models which are coming across. One happens to be class model, the second one is state model, and the third one is interaction model. Okay, with respect to a class model, always keep in mind it represents static structural data aspects of a system. Always keep in mind your class model is a foundation stone for your products whatever you are building. It describes the structure of objects in a system. Okay, the structure of the object is shown through object diagram. Okay, whereas the classes to which those objects belong is shown through that. In simple way, I want to tell you that class diagrams are nothing but a skeleton structure. Okay, whereas your object diagrams are nothing but an real-time example to the system to what you are building there. Okay, class diagrams express the class models, whereas your object diagram of course express the class models but in terms of objects there. Okay, then comes the second one, that's a state model. As I said you, it represents temporal behavior. Okay, that's why I said you are not marking or else you are not preparing the state model for each and every class model whatever you are preparing here. Okay, why? Only because it is ultimately here I said you reduction of complexity. To acknowledge this term is your state model or else your state diagram. Okay, state diagram is somewhere I can just relate some of the symbols which you are using across in a state diagram is somewhat similar to your flowchart. Okay, state diagram express the state model. Each state diagram shows the state and event sequences permitted in a system for one class of object. Okay, I'll be showing across with for a particular object from a class. Okay, and the actions whatever are pertaining to that and the events whichever are shown in a state diagram become operations on that particular object in the class model. Okay, whereas interaction model, as I had already said, it represents a collaboration of individual objects there. Okay, how the objects interact with one another. Okay, what are the mediums through which they interact. Okay, so to achieve that particular behavior of a system as a whole. Okay, so it is something like I can just say related to directly as your user interface there. Okay, so for pertaining for this interaction model, you will be coming across with three diagrams here: use case, sequence, activity. Okay, so these are the three diagrams which are very much necessary for the document which you are preparing across for the interaction model. Okay, the very first one happens to be your class diagram. Okay, so I'll tell regarding this particular class diagram, then a state diagram along with an example with respect to my next class there, so that for time being this is a short video which I have prepared. Okay, just to go through and let me know with your doubts there. Okay, thank you.